I was undefeated. I was ranked number 2 out of 36 players in my RCQ when I got into the top 8, but then I lost it all. Here are 3 things I would have done differently to win my next RCQ. Number 1 is format prep. So the format for my last RCQ was sealed. And a lot of people say sealed is a luck-based format, but that's not quite true. See, what I did do was I practiced as much sealed as possible going into the event. That's on Arena, that's doing pre-releases. As much as I possibly could, I was playing the sealed format of the RC. But what I didn't do was I didn't have the long-term vision. I couldn't even imagine myself getting into a top 8. And when you do a sealed RCQ, the cut to top 8 is a draft format. And so what I didn't do leading into the event was practice draft. And as soon as I got into the quarterfinals, I realized not all limited formats are created equal. And I was wholly underprepared to draft at a competitive REL level. So my draft was sloppy and I lost my first match. The second thing I learned, and I just alluded to it, is draft is not sealed and sealed is not draft. Sealed is a very bomb-centric format, and it's less focused on synergies as it is on building a deck made out of really good cards or bombs, the best cards in your packs, and playing it out with a little bit of synergy or just enough to get you over the edge to the win. Like I said, I went 3-0 and drew into the top 8. But draft is much more skill intensive, much more synergied, much more synergy based. Draft is the great equalizer. Everyone starts out with 0 cards. All they have with them is knowledge. So understanding that draft is not sealed, what I should have done is created a pick order of cards in the format, essentially commons and uncommons, cards I would always see in packs, and list them out in order that I would pick them. So that as I'm passing packs around, I know what I'm looking for. I know what synergies work the best in the format. And again, I was shocked to be there. It was my first top 8 ever, and I let that get to my head. My third takeaway from my first ever RCQ top 8 is to understand points in the Swiss. So I was 3-0, and opponent across from me in round 4 asked if I wanted to draw into top 8. He said we had a guaranteed spot. Now that sounds great, and it turned out to be true, but when you're at a tournament, the only person looking after your best interests is you. So when I go to a judge and I ask them about, how do these points work out? What can I do? What are my options? Should I go grab a sandwich or a bite to eat? Or should I play it out and possibly taint my 3-0 record? The judge could not answer those questions. So I realized then and there that it was my knowledge gap that was preventing me from making an educated decision. And it had nothing to do with the gameplay. It had 100% to do with how Magic tournaments are run. So understanding how your record correlates to how many points you have in the Swiss rounds and what those points mean relative to your standing in the tournament is actually a really important skill. And that's something that I am going to dive into a little bit deeper. Okay, Swiss tournament points. So to start off, if you win a match, you get 3 points. If you lose, you get 0 points. If you draw, you get 1 point. Now, round 1 of a tournament is completely random in a 32-person tournament, because that's about the size that I normally see around me, you are totally randomly paired for game 1, match 1. After your first match is over, your pairings and standings are all relative to each other. So, for instance, a player that got 3 points round 1 will likely get paired with another player that got 3 points in their match. So here's the interesting part. You often hear players talk about an X2, X whatever, X3 record in order to make the day 2 of a Pro Tour or day 2 of an RCQ, or top 8 at day 2 at an RC, or top 8 at an RCQ. That isn't always 100% the case, because in the Swiss tournament point system, sometimes the top 8 of a tournament is dictated on what we call their tiebreakers, or people in the room, you might hear other players talk about breakers. This is what they're referring to. The first element of tiebreakers that matters is your opponent match win percentage, or the average number of games your opponent has won. The second element is game win percentage, where a match is best 2 out of 3 games. Your overall game wins stay with you. So for instance, in round 1 you went 2-0, and in round 2 you went 2-1. You still won both matches, right? You got 6 points in the Swiss in total, but your game win percentage was 4 out of 5 games, not 100%. The third element of tiebreakers is opponent game win percentage. It's the same thing applied to all of your opponents. So the better your opponents are, the better your tiebreakers are. So say in a tournament you have 7 players, all right, whose records are 3-1. By the points, they are the top 7 in the tournament. Let's say players number 8 through 10 are all 3-2. But we have to figure out who number 8 is. If everybody has the same points, how do you do that? That's where we bring in tiebreakers. That's why understanding your breakers in a tournament matters. Seeing how well your opponents are doing, how many games are they playing, how many games are they winning, how many games are you playing, and how many games are you winning. Now this is all more than just Magic. Obviously, the first thing that you should get down when you go to a tournament is learn how to play solid Magic, the best games you could possibly play. But the second thing to consider that nobody told me about was understanding how tournament points and tournament tiebreakers play into your overall standing in the tournament, how it could affect possible invites to an RC or the Pro Tour. Again, here at ACVMTG, we are where you are. And as I learn things, I want to make sure I let you know so that we can get better together. This is Navigator. Thanks so much for watching. If you got any value whatsoever from this video, all I could possibly ask is that you like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with your friends so that we can get better as a Magic community as we embrace the competitive side of our amazing game. Thanks, and see you guys next time.